Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Hey, aren't you supposed to review the Orange Knight first? But no, I'm actually not supposed to, because according to the logo and the character selection screen, the order of the starting knights is first the Green Knight, then the Red Knight, then the Blue Knight, and then the Orange Knight. So just like all the other 400 billion things I got wrong in the original series, this is another one on the list. But speaking of order, since I'm redoing the series, I'll quickly recap you on what the order is, since if new people watch this then they might be confused about what the order of this series is. Skip to this if you want to get to the review, or you already know what the order is. But yeah, the order is first the 4 main knights going like this, and afterwards it'll work on a system of when you encounter a certain character like this. And after this I'll cover the characters that were DLC characters in the original version, so like before the remaster, like this. And then I'll cover the characters that are DLC characters now, like this. So this little image is the complete order. And also before I begin, I must say that I am incredibly happy to redo this review, because I mean sure, I'm happy to redo them because of all the stuff I said in this video, but my main issue with the original was how fucking much I got wrong. Like in that video I was all like, yeah, the Red Knight, he's the best character in the entire game. He's unbeatable and overpowered and whatnot, but yeah, he really isn't. Don't get me wrong, he's pretty damn good. I'd put him just below someone like the Orange Knight, but fucking hell, I was over exaggerating in that video. Anyway, now let's take a proper look at the Red Knight. So, the Red Knight is one of the elemental starting characters with grooving as his magic, aka electricity. Now, the Red Knight is pretty interesting, since in PvE he's pretty alright, but in 1v1 PvP he's one hell of an overpowered boy. This mostly has to do with his splash attack, and don't worry, I'm not gonna get it wrong this time, since his splash attack is a thunderbolt that renders both you and the enemy or enemies that are hit by it completely immobile for as long as you're using it. So it's great in a 1v1, since if you catch them in this thunderbolt they are, as I like to call, fucked. But in PvE, aka against multiple enemies, this becomes a more risky move, since like I said, you're completely immobile while using it, opening windows for enemies to attack. Now like I said, this is a bit weird, since most characters are just as good as in PvP as in PvE, but yeah, this guy is clearly a different story. Now, looking at this guy's magic, and ooh, I smell inconsistency. Yeah, I came up with this method of listing it while writing the script of this video, so this isn't in the Green Knight review, but yeah, it ain't that important, so whatever. Anyway, well, I've already talked quite a bit about his splash attack, but still, like I said, it's a thunderbolt and it does good damage. And what I didn't yet say is that, like a few other splash attacks, it can really fuck bosses up, since the cooldown before the enemy gets hit by the bolt is removed with most, not all, bosses that can't get knockback. So against certain bosses, his splash attack is really good. So his magic projectile is a little electricity ball, which is pretty cool, and although it does decent damage, it's not really anything special. His air projectile is the magic one, of course. His elemental infusion is an electric strike, but the wiki name says it's a static impandiment. And his magic jump looks like a small explosion of electricity, and it's also nice for damage. And what characters do you unlock by beating the game with the Red Knight? Well, by beating the game as the Red Knight, you get my boy. And if you beat the game with the skeleton, you unlock the Bear Brother. Now let's get into the rating of the Red Knight. So, the Red Knight, although his splash attack leaves him pretty vulnerable in PvE, still I'd say he's at least a 7.5 out of 10. Since his magic, although it is pretty good, it also isn't the best in my opinion, because like I said, you're more vulnerable with your primary used magic, aka your splash attack, making it not something you want to use all too often in risky battles with bosses or enemies that deal a lot of damage. And it's also not the greatest crowd control either, but the rest of his magic is fine though. So that's why I give him a 7.5 out of 10, meaning that he's just a bit better than the Green Knight, since although the Green Knight's magic is better, his heavy attack... Now, do I recommend this character for insane mode? Well, it was pretty difficult to really decide whether I do or don't recommend him, but ultimately, yes. The thing is, by picking him, you're not handicapping yourself by not choosing a different character, since he is fine, but he's also not the greatest guy. Like, he's not a clear yes, but he's also not a clear no, so I kind of have to say that's up to you to really decide whether you think he fits as a good character for insane mode or that he doesn't, since he's really on the edge. Anyway, that was the video. Yeah, this one was shorter than the last one, but that's mostly because in the last video I had to explain a bit more about how these videos work and whatnot. out. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, donate to my Patreon, subscribe to Lufke Gaming HD, and be sure to buy my 10 subscriber milestone merch. And I'll see you next time.
Wait, Castle Crashers 2 never come out? Always have.